Greetings, folks! Today we are going to paint up a Plaguebearer from the Nurgle Chaos Demon faction. This specific color scheme I have deemed as Blight Walkers. It's a very lighter theme with a little bit of tinge of green in it and very vile looking pus green specks here and there with nice like rotting flesh tones here and there. So we're going to be painting up this little bloatfly rider with a little nurgling hanging out on his weapon. First, as you see here, we are going to use Biel-tan Green, and we're just going to be putting this all over the miniature. Just all over it. This will allow us to have our nice dark green base, similar to what we have going on with these little nurglings here. That's just the base over the white. The white is a Coraw White, specifically. We're just going to be putting this all over the miniature. Just slather it on there. And if it gets a little pooled here and there, that's totally fine. The darker it is, the better. And the more clumped it is too. Give it more of that nice, like, rotting pus flesh feel that we're going for. Put face there. Get some more. Generally speaking, this color scheme is, in my opinion, pretty nice, especially if you're wanting to knock out a good portion of your army within like a night session or a couple days, maybe a week. This color scheme is generally easy to replicate. Perhaps you can even expand on it later times. Just get into every single part of it. And if there are some white spots, that is okay. We're going to be going over those later. After you apply the shade everywhere, of course. Okay, now that all that is applied, we'll let this miniature dry for approximately 2 to 3 minutes, and then we'll get started on the rest of the process. Now that is done drying, as you can see, compared to the white, it has a very nice sickly kind of green color going on. We're going to make it even more sickly by dry brushing Moot Green onto our miniature. This will begin forming that nice... Ooh, excuse me, sorry. Now, it would start forming that nice bright green look that we were trying to get here for our mini. So for dry brushing, you want to get paint onto your brush and remove as much as you can onto your palette here. So it's almost as if you're just painting it with barely anything. We're just going to be dry brushing it downward, the whole miniature. If a little gets on the weapon, that's totally fine. This will help bring out some of the details a little better and skip some of the highlighting phase. Alright, now that that step is done, we will let that dry for about a minute and then get started on the second half of our dry brushing. Now that that is finished, we will be dry brushing at least 1 to 2 layers of Coraw White onto the miniature. This right here is Coraw White. It's a very light white tone, as you see on the blade. However, you gotta give it a good shake because out of the pot it has this blackish gray tinge going on, which is the water and the pigmentation separating. So you just want to give it a good shake before you apply it. Now with this case I have to brush it a little wet because I'm doing what's called a wet brush. A wet dry brush. I call it a wet brush. Makes no sense, I know. I pretty much like dry brushing but with a little bit of water so it can help catch the fine details and let it spread within the cracks. This just makes it lighter in tone. Now with that done, I'll be getting some of the Coraw White back onto the brush. And then this is where I'll be doing the dry brush of it. You want to go in a back and forth motion as you're applying this. So you catch every nook and cranny on it. As you see with that wet dry brush combination, it's now making it a lot lighter, like we want it to be. And if you want it to be a more whiter push, just add another layer of Coraw White dry brush. Or maybe a very light white sort of flesh tone. That could also work like Screaming Skull. Depends on what kind of white you want to be on this. Okay, now that that step is done, remember to clean your brush. Now, we're going to use a Volupus Pink contrast paint. We'll be applying it almost as if it were a wash. This is going to go in all of the exposed and clinging flesh bits on our miniature. This will give the base like a purple crimson almost, which is perfect for intestines and rotting flesh. So just put it all over there. Just let it seep in. We'll do the same for the eyes as well. These bulgy, fly-looking eyes. The intestine. Well, technically esophagus coming out of this head here, severed head. Alright, now that that is all applied and currently drying, we will be touching up the rest of the miniature. First up, we're going to be using our Moot Green again, and this is going to go on all those little pimples and warts and pus nodes that you see on the body. The Moot Green on top of this color will give it a nice sickly green, as you see in this miniature right here. Notice how all those combinations made that nice sickly light green color, with all that purple showing, and the little pus dots. We're just going to be painting up each we see. And if any goes over onto the flesh, that is alright. It'll give the illusion that it is currently growing, even to a larger size, from the excess bodily fluids and pus contained within it. I always enjoyed painting Nurgle. There's just something fun about these weird, diseased, fly-infested, undead demons. They're fun. Nice to test color schemes on, too. Because for the most part, whatever you do, if you mess up a little bit, it looks good. Okay. Now that that is done, we are going to be applying a secondary color just at the very tip of that, which is a Flash Gitz Yellow. By applying this, it'll make it even more exposed, transparent, almost giving the feeling of movement and expanding from each pus node. We're going to be using our little nail detail metal brush thing. I'm going to apply this to the very center of it. At the very far end. So I have one here, here. Dot it. Yeah, almost makes it look like a lot. I think it's about to burst. Yeah. What have I created? It's Nurgle, that's what I've created. Just add more little dots here. Dot, 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 dot. Okay, that's good to go. Now, for the final steps, we'll get out our brush again, our small base brush. And we're going to be using a Seraphim Sepia shade, and we're going to apply this to the white portions of the horns on the rider and the Nurgling. Almost forgot the name of the little guy for a second. We're just going to be applying that to the horns. It'll give it a nice like bone color. Same to that one there. Alongside the spine and the hilt of this sword. Okay. And then for the very last part that we have to do with this miniature is by far the simplest thing ever. We get out that fine tip nail brush again, Coraw White. We're going to dip it into the white. Just put it along the teeth here. Same for the little guy here. And for the nails and claws on the feet. Ooh, girl, you got your nails did? Let's have fun here. And that's it. That is the Blight Walker color scheme. It's a much more pussy, lighter green than what is usually used for these Nurgle demons that you see on the box. Very simple alternative and kind of easy to do. Other than that, that is it for the video. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, or if you want to follow, feel free to follow. Other than that, you folks have a great day.